We're here to take you through and get you set on this week and extend your weekend a little bit. Meteorologist Elisa Raffa is also here, though, on this Labor Day Monday morning. Good morning to you.
I feel like my coffee didn't work today.
Yeah, what's going on here?
I don't know.
I was talking to you before the show, and you didn't. Nothing.
In one ear and out the other. I had my coffee. It worked, but maybe it's a holiday, so it's also taking off. I don't know.
Yeah, they're all at home enjoying the weekend. We're not. We got to work right now, so.
Need more caffeine.
Time to get up, though, and people are probably really going to want to be outside today. You know, baseball games happening, practices for things going on too. You know, it's people want a nice Labor Day.
It will be a summery end to summer today.
That's good to hear. Very nice.
Really nice. But we're starting out with fog.
Yeah, got to watch out for that this morning, right?
It goes until 10 a.m. The dense fog advisory for some of our central Missouri counties. This dense fog advisory, again, in effect until 10. Cities included like Lake of the Ozarks, Lebanon, and Rolla, where that visibility could drop to a quarter mile or less. Clear skies in Springfield this morning and quiet. It is 69 degrees there. We do have that visibility down to a half mile in Rolla, a quarter mile in Clinton, almost 2 miles in Camdenton, and a mile and a quarter in West Plains. So again, we're seeing that visibility drop off because that air mass is a little bit cooler out there this morning. When you get that cooler air mass, you get things to condense a little bit quicker, and that's where you get that fog development. It's 69 degrees in Springfield, 66 in Branson, and 69 in Monette. If you do need to do some traveling today, whether it be for the holiday or for work, I expect dry roads and green light conditions. Mostly sunny skies at the pool. Temperatures up near 90. We'll have temperatures in the middle and upper 80s, so a nice pool day ahead as you fire up the barbecue for that Labor Day holiday. We're looking at a summery day, 88 degrees. We've got a quiet 7-day ahead, so we'll talk about that, plus an update on Hurricane Dorian. Well, that in 10 minutes.
Starting this morning with a Color 10 investigation for you, there is a new scam going around targeting people who want to make extra money. A Springfield man tells us he received an email to be a mystery shopper, which is something that a company will hire to see if its employees are providing the best service or quality of products. He then got a $2,600 check in the mail asking him to deposit it, then sent back 2 blank money orders. We looked into this and found some discrepancies there. On the check Darren Koger received, the investment company listed was spelled incorrectly, and the return address was inconsistent with the company address.
And I didn't think anything of it, and then 2 days later, FedEx came and dropped this off. And I opened it up, and I started reading it, and of course there's this check in it for $2,600. I just don't want any senior citizens or somebody that's on a fixed income to get this in the mail and actually do this, because in the end you're going to owe your bank this money.
The Better Business Bureau is warning people about scams like these, saying to be aware of fake ads and to always research a source or company. Also know that legitimate opportunities are free and that you shouldn't have to pay a company to work for them. If you have ideas on how to improve the city of Springfield, you've got a chance to share your thoughts as the city needs contributions from residents to Forward SGF. It's a comprehensive plan intended for the next 20 years. Right now, the city wants to create a vision of what it will look like over the next 5 to 10. Randall Whitman says they're currently at the early stages of community engagement.
We're asking citizens and we're asking, community, whether you work in the city, whether you live in the city, whether you're a commuter, whether you're a job provider or retail or business owner, what are the top issues and concerns the city needs to target?
As an issue, we always hear crime. We always hear beautification and community image. Those are some of the things that we bring, but we also want to know what the assets of the community are. What are we proud of? What can we build on?
There are 3 community workshops this week, but if you're unable to attend them, you can still submit your ideas online. For details how, just find this story over on ozarksfirst.com. Moving around the Ozarks for you, you may have noticed plenty of distilleries across the Ozarks and the state of Missouri. Yesterday, though, many of them gathered in Branson to show off their skills with the Missouri Craft Distillers Guild hosting its first Southern Missouri Craft Spirits Festival. Distilleries offered samples of whiskey, bourbon, vodka, and more.
With regards to whiskey festivals, this is the first. We're hoping to essentially do a semi-annual and then ultimately make it a quarterly event. We've had an event already in St. Louis, one in Kansas City, and now we're representing Southwest Missouri.
The distilleries also offer full bottles for anyone to purchase if they'd like anytime. Hunting season for birds and waterfowl is here, and the hunting for 3 types of migratory birds has started. That's doves, rails, and snipes. Each one runs for a different length of time, ending in either November or December. Teal season starts up next weekend on the 7th, but hunting season for other types of ducks and waterfowl will begin later this year, either in October or November. Some concern has been raised over the Sheriff's Department's cashless system after a man had a tough time getting home when he was released. The news leader reports Daryl Day was booked into the jail with $200. When he was released a few hours later, he was given a debit card. However, with no cash in hand, he couldn't buy a bus pass to get home, so he had to walk 7 miles back. Day sent a letter to the sheriff, and Sheriff Jim Arnott told the news leader the deputies try to arrange something when situations like these arise, but he believes the cashless system cuts down on crime. Before the system, there were multiple incidents of fraud, stealing, and in some cases, poor accounting. We are just getting started for you here this morning on Daybreak. Your Money Watch is coming up along with Elisa Raffa's forecast. Stay with us.
From Color 10 Ozarks First, Lauren Barnes, Joe Morano, and weather with meteorologist Elisa Raffa. This is Color 10 News Daybreak. And now weather with meteorologist Elisa Raffa.
Good morning. A dense fog advisory is in effect this morning until 10 o'clock for our central Missouri counties. It includes cities like Lake of the Ozarks, Lebanon, and Rolla. This is where that visibility could drop to a quarter mile or less because of dense fog conditions. So what that means is take it slow on the roads this morning. Use those low beam headlights and leave extra space between you and the car in front of you. Remember, if it's hard for you to see, the people behind you can't see either. We've got dry roads and clearer conditions in Branson this morning. It is 60 56 degrees there right now. We do have that visibility again dropping up to the north and east. 1 mile visibility in Rolla, about 2 miles in Camden, a quarter mile in Clinton, and a half a mile at Lake of the Ozarks. That fog stretching back down towards West Plains as well. We're seeing this fog development because up to the north and east we've got a cooler air mass, and when we get that cooler air mass in the morning with some moisture on the ground, that gives us some conditions that are conducive to condensation and to getting that fog to develop. Temperatures there this morning are in the lower 60s. It's 61 degrees at Lake of the Ozarks, 69 in Springfield, so again much warmer, 66 in Branson, and 70 in Ava. Pretty quiet. We've got this summertime high pressure in control of the Ozarks. It's warm and quiet, and it's really going to stay that way through much of the week. Why? Because we've got Hurricane Dorian getting close to that Florida coast, and the pattern is going to be pretty much stuck as Dorian comes up the east coast. So we'll be stuck with a high pressure through most of the week because not much is going to be able to move and change until the hurricane gets out of here. So you can see on that satellite and radar, we're pretty quiet through the midsection of the country. Not much going on, not even too much in the way of cloud cover. But of course, that's much different down off the coast of Florida, where we have an incredibly strong, historic Category 5 hurricane just spinning over the Bahamas. Dorian is still a Category 5 storm with 165-mile-per-hour winds this morning. And the gut-wrenching part of this is look at the forward movement, only at 1 mile per hour. You can walk faster than this hurricane. These poor Bahama Islands have been dealing with Category 5 hurricane conditions for the last 24 hours, and it will continue as this storm just continues to stall. That eye, pretty big, and now sitting over Grand Bahama Island. So the hurricane force winds extend out 45 miles, and the tropical storm force winds out 140 miles. So you might have seen stuff on social media about, oh, will this make landfall or not in Florida? Well, yes, a landfall will bring the more destructive winds onshore, but even without a landfall, you still have a very wide wind field. So they're still looking at hurricane and tropical storm force winds on the Florida Peninsula. Storm surge up to 4 to 6 feet for much of the East Coast. And then as you get into that Georgia and South Carolina curve in the coastline, you get that storm surge up to 8 to 10 feet. So hurricane warnings are in effect for much of the east coast of Florida, tropical storm warnings as well, because what we're expecting is that slow movement to continue and then a turn to the north. And again, where that turn happens will really significantly impact those impacts, because if it turns a little bit late, then you get more of that eye on the coast of Florida. If it turns a little bit early, then more of the stronger winds stay off the shore. Then it goes up through the Carolinas and up the East Coast through this week. When it made landfall in the Bahamas, it was one of the strongest storms that the Atlantic has ever seen, with 185-mile-per-hour winds and a central pressure of 911 millibars. That's incredibly strong. So definitely one of the strongest storms that the Bahamas has ever seen, and the Atlantic as well. Back close to home, sunshine today. Temperatures in the low to middle 80s, 87 degrees by 5. We'll keep things quiet on Futurecast with sunshine today. Clear skies overnight with temperatures in the upper 60s. Temperatures up near 90 again tomorrow. Mostly sunny and quiet. Again, staying quiet until we get Dorian out of here. So for Labor Day today, pretty summery, 88 degrees and a little bit sticky, but should be nice in the pools and the lakes. 68 overnight, mostly clear and quiet. 90 tomorrow, warm and sticky on south and west winds. A very quiet 7-day, mostly sunny skies through at least the work week. Temperatures will cool some with some north winds kicking in on Wednesday. A little bit warmer by the end of the week. The weekend looks quiet too.
The trade war between the U.S. and China has escalated again. New 15% tariffs are now in effect on about $112 billion worth of Chinese imports. That could lead to higher prices during the holiday shopping season. President Trump says trade talks with China are still on for this month. Stocks in Asia were mixed following the trade news. U.S. financial markets are closed today for the Labor Day holiday. On Friday, the Dow rose 41 points, the Nasdaq fell 10, and the S&P 500 rose 1 point. And American Airlines is delaying the return of the Boeing 737 MAX jets for the third time. The troubled planes have been grounded since March after the 2 deadly accidents abroad. American is canceling about 140 flights per day through December 3rd. United had delayed flights through December 19th. The Boeing jets are undergoing a software update to fix the problem. And that's your CBS Money Watch report. For more, head to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the CBS Broadcast Center in New York, I'm Mark Liverman.
We've got your sports up next. A very successful weekend for the St. Louis Cardinals and big roster moves from the Kansas City Chiefs over the weekend. We'll explain who's joining the team coming up.
The mandated 53-man roster deadline came and went Saturday afternoon, but if you thought that meant the roster's 100% set for Sunday's season opener, the Chiefs have proved you wrong. Late Saturday night, after being cut by the Buffalo Bills, LaShawn McCoy decided Arrowhead is the place he wants to be. Shady gives the Chiefs probably the best 1-2-3 punch in the NFL, pairing with Damian Williams and rookie Darwin Thompson. Once one of the best backups in the league, McCoy has had a dip in production, only 514 yards last season with 3 touchdowns. However, he did go for 1,100 back in 2017. McCoy worked with Andy Reid during some of his best years in Philly. It wasn't all good for the Missouri Tigers. So much hype and excitement with some weapons on the offense and the addition of Kelly Bryant. Tigers nearly a top 25 preseason team. Then a trip up to Big Sky Country happened. The Tigers opened up with a 14-point first quarter, but man, did it go south in the second. 3 big plays, a fumble recovery, followed by a 61-yard touchdown scamper from the running back. Then right after a Missouri field goal tied it up, Sean Chambers busted one for 75. 297 rushing yards for the Cowboys against the team that allowed the 19th fewest on the grounds last season, leaving everyone scratching their heads and wondering where it all went wrong.
We obviously can't, in any game, walk out and be -3. In the turnover margin, we're not. Our margin of error is pretty slim. Momentum started out really good on our front, 14-0, and then we lost it all, and took a long time to bounce back and get in position to go win the game. So I hate it for my guys. Challenge of looking in the mirror and making corrections quit talking about it and let's go do it. And it starts with me.
They play West Virginia next week. In the Bigs, Cards walk-off game 1 4-3. Game 2 goes the Reds' way 5-3. Royals top the Orioles 6-4, and the Springfield Cardinals lose to Midland 4-0. Final game of the season is later this afternoon. I'm Dan Lindblad with your morning sports.
Oh boy, the NFL season starts on Thursday. It's so close, everyone. So sign up for the Pro Football Challenge contests and events page that you see right here. There you go. Just scroll down a little bit. You'll see the icon that you see. You can sign up, pick games, pick against Elisa, pick against myself, and win yourself a 55-inch TV at the end of the year. You gotta pick every week if you're gonna win that, though.
Does that mean I have to do this before Thursday?
Yes.
Can I cheat with you for a second?
Yeah.
Who is favored this season? The Chiefs, right? Are favored to
big
come
favorite,
back.
of course.
The Patriots.
Yeah. People like the Patriots and Rams as their odds, not as fans. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
But yeah, the Chiefs are looking good. Great team last year, and a lot of people are saying they've improved. So we'll see on Sunday if that's the case. Catch that on Color 10 as well.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be pretty nice. And then this morning, we're talking weather. I wasn't expecting the fog here, but people need to watch out in the viewing area, right?
Yeah, I had some condensation on my windshield this morning. Had to get the
a little bit.
defogger up in the car. We do have a dense fog advisory until 10 o'clock for our central Missouri counties. Areas like Lebanon, Lake of the Ozarks, and Rolla are seeing that visibility drop at times. It is mostly clear with dry roads in Springfield, 69 degrees there. We've got that visibility down to a half mile at Lake of the Ozarks, 3/4 of a mile in Rolla, and a 1/4 mile in Clinton. Again, areas to the north and east favored for this fog because that's where that air mass is a little bit cooler. A cooler air mass can condense more easily and create that fog. A warmer 69 degrees in Springfield, 69 in Monette, and 65 degrees in Harrison. Cardinals play their last game of the season today, guys. A 12:15 first pitch, a warm finish to the minor league season, 82 degrees there. At the pool today, one of the last days for the pool, too. Mostly sunny and summery with a high of 88. As you fire up the barbecue, we'll keep things pretty warm and summery this afternoon. Temperatures in the 70s this evening under mostly clear skies. So very quiet futurecast, mostly sunny, and temperatures in the low to middle 80s. We'll keep things in the upper 60s tonight with clear skies, closer to 90 tomorrow, mostly sunny and pretty summery. If you want to hit the lake, we are looking at some really great conditions through the work week. We'll keep things dry, we keep things sunny, we keep things warm, so you'll have some safe conditions on the boat as far as weather is concerned. Hurricane Dorian is a huge, catastrophic Category 5 storm stalling over the Bahamas. It has not moved much since yesterday. 165 mile per hour sustained winds right now, only moving at 1 mile per hour. That is devastating because you have these intense Category 5 storm force winds just sitting in the same spot. Those poor people in the Bahamas. We are expecting a turn to the north by today into tomorrow, so it skirts that Florida coast. Whether or not it makes landfall, still up in the air, but honestly, not that it doesn't matter, but it will greatly determine the impacts, and even if it doesn't make landfall, they're still looking at surge, wind, and rain up and down that Florida coast. The Carolinas are up next by the middle of this week.
We are talking about that hurricane up next as it's hitting the Bahamas, how Florida is bracing for significant impacts from this storm when we return. Welcome back to Daybreak, everyone. Hurricane Dorian remains a devastating Category 5 storm with a life-threatening surge. It creeps toward the U.S. coastline. Whether it makes official landfall or not, though, Florida is bracing for a significant surge of wind and rain. Hillary Lane reports from Daytona Beach.
Hurricane Dorian churned its way across the Bahamas overnight as a powerful Category 5 storm. It's one of the strongest Atlantic hurricanes ever recorded and the strongest ever to make landfall.
This is probably the most saddened and worst day of my life to address the Bahamian people.
The National Hurricane Center says the islands are likely being hit by a life-threatening storm surge and catastrophic winds. Dorian's intensity and unpredictability continue to surprise forecasters, but even as it crept west towards Florida, it's unclear if it will make a direct strike over the U.S. And authorities aren't taking any chances. Mandatory evacuation orders have been posted here in Daytona Beach and in coastal communities as far away as North Carolina.
The strength of this storm cannot be underestimated.
States of emergency have been declared in Florida, Georgia, and the Carolinas. Officials say even if Dorian veers back out to sea, the region is still facing days of potentially devastating rains and wind.
It seems to be one of the biggest hurricanes we've ever seen, and that's a problem. That's a problem.
Authorities are already getting ready for Dorian's aftermath. Emergency supplies and power trucks have been positioned to move in once the coast is clear. Hillary Lane, CBS News, Daytona Beach, Florida.
And just reported by CNN a few minutes ago, the death of an 8-year-old boy from the Bahamas has been reported and is also reported as the first fatality caused from this hurricane. Residents of the Bahamas have been told to shelter in place until those conditions can begin to improve. Still ahead for you this morning, some tips for you to stay safe in the water during this Labor Day holiday. Plus, the youngest victim of the Odessa, Texas shooting this weekend is out of the hospital. We'll hear from her parents coming up. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back into Daybreak. Thanks for joining us on this Labor Day Monday, September 2nd. Lauren has the day off. Joe Morano here with you now, though, taking you through for the next 90 minutes. We check in, because it's been 30 minutes, with meteorologist Elisa Raffa, if that caffeine is kicked in for her just yet. How are you feeling this morning, Elisa?
I think my adrenaline is coming more just from hurricane updates this morning.
Right.
I'm always been fascinated with hurricanes, and this one in particular has been so historic already. It's been from a science perspective, interesting to keep up with.
Yeah, no end in sight really here with this either. Just the way that moving is so slow.
So slow.
We look back around the Ozarks though this morning because some people are up and moving this morning in the Ozarks, trying to enjoy that Labor Day. Is it going to be good for them?
Yeah, I think you'll get a really nice pool, lake, barbecue, anything you want to do day out of it. If you have any early morning errands, though, starting out with some fog.
Right.
Dense fog advisory goes until 10 o'clock this morning for our central Missouri counties. This is where we're getting that visibility to drop down to a quarter mile or less. Lebanon, Lake of the Ozarks, Camdenton, and Rolla are some of the cities that are included in this. We've got some clear skies and dry roads in Springfield right now. It's 69 degrees. We've got that visibility again. You can see dropping up to the north and east. 5 miles in Rolla, 4 miles in Camdenton, and a half a mile up at Lake of the Ozarks. That's because that air mass is a little bit cooler up there. When you get that cooler air, it condenses better, and that creates that fog a little bit better too. So some cooler lower 60s up to the north. It's 69 in Springfield and 66 in Branson, so closer to 70 there. If you do have to do some errands, I expect dry roads today, both on the front end and the back end. We'll have mostly sunny skies at the pool. Temperatures feeling summer-like in the middle and upper 80s. A little bit sticky there too. So as you just lounge out, whether it's the yard, the lake, the pool for Labor Day, warm and summery today, 88 degrees. We're tracking a summery Labor Day for you today. The 7 days quiet, plus an update on Dorian. Well, that in 10 minutes.
We begin this half hour with some news around the region for you. For some people, Labor Day weekend is the official end of summer, but a perfect time to check out some local parks and lakes. Andrew Epperson tells us what items visitors are bringing along with them to stay safe out on the water.
Yeah, I'm here at Beaver Lake where people are really having some fun this holiday weekend, checking out the water, getting a good view of Arkansas's natural beauty. Of course, when you're out on the lake, you want to make sure the #1 thing on your mind is safety. Then you can really have fun.
Kevin Gillespie is living out Labor Day weekend in style, camping at Beaver Lake.
I'm having quite a bit of fun. Never been to Beaver Lake. It's been a great time kayaking with my boyfriend and his parents.
To make sure her relaxing weekend stays just that, she's focusing on safety while out on the water.
I'm not the most experienced, it's my first trip here, but definitely keep your eye out for boats and other people.
The latest national statistics show the U.S. Coast Guard counted more than 600 deaths as a result of recreational boating accidents. Nearly 85% weren't wearing a life jacket.
You really have to be alert.
Steve Churchill is the interpreter for Hobbs State Park near Beaver Lake, and he's seen what happens when you don't think about safety out on the water.
I don't need to be safe. I can just go out and do this. I can just run my boat any way I want, and they're going to watch out for me. No, you got to watch out for them.
Churchill says you need to remember that all-important life jacket and watch out for other boaters.
Drinking and driving your car doesn't work. Drinking and driving a boat doesn't work. And always wear your flotation device. I don't care how good a swimmer you are. If you bonk your head and you're out, you're out.
Gillespie says she and her companions studied up on lake safety before coming out to Beaver Lake, and they're having that much more fun because of it.
We've got our life jackets with us. You're supposed to ride with a whistle, and of course, if you're going to be out after dark, you're supposed to have a flashlight. So we've got all that on board, so we're good to go.
And just to tell you how busy this is out here, there are no more RV sites. They've all been snatched up. That means more than 100 people are on site right now, but you can still get you a tent site if you want to enjoy this area over the holiday weekend. At Beaver Lake, Andrew Epperson, Fox 24 News.
Around America for you, firefighters continue to battle a brush fire in Greenfield, California that has now burned more than 30 acres. The Monterey County Sheriff's Office said multiple firefighters were taken to hospitals with burn injuries, though they are all non-life-threatening. The fire broke out just before 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon. The cause is unknown, but CAL FIRE says they expect to be out there into the morning today. The youngest survivor of the Odessa shooting rampage is a 17-month-old little girl. She's out of the hospital this morning. Shelby Landgraf sat down with the toddler's parents, who recalled the horrifying moments but also shared their gratitude.
Probably the #1 thing people will tell you is that she's smiley and happy.
At almost a year and a half old, hopefully Anderson will have no lasting memories of Saturday's shooting rampage.
It really happened so fast. I didn't know which direction they were coming from, what was really going on.
I knew that we had been shot, but it never dawned on me that one of us would be hit. So I actually just thought, how can I cover both of these babies at one time?
Anderson and her twin brother were strapped into their car seats for a normal trip to the grocery store when a gunshot hit their SUV at this intersection.
Within seconds, I looked at Anderson and she was just covered in blood, so much blood. I mean, you couldn't even see her face.
Anderson was hit in the mouth and in the chest. As Kelby and Garrett Davis were screaming for help, off-duty paramedics rushed in.
Angels are everywhere. Some men are in my window and they're saying, "Kelby, it's me. Kelby, it's me."
Paramedics and all the first responders, their training is just absolutely amazing. They are truly the calm in the midst of the storm.
Quickly, Anderson was air flighted to a Lubbock hospital for emergency treatment. She's since been released and is now back home in Odessa.
I'm so grateful Anderson is here. I'm so thankful that we're not one of those families that's on the other side of this, and it makes you feel guilty almost. That's how I just have to remind myself that God does not cause tragedies like this, but God's going to walk through all of us.
It's the Davises' strong Christian faith and their love for their hometown of Odessa that's carrying them through.
That's why we're proud of this town and the people in it, because they rally and they come together, and bad things are going to happen no matter where you live. But we know that here, this is our home and this is where our support system is, and it's made all the difference in this situation.
The El Paso police have been leading this investigation since the shooting occurred, but are working with the FBI, specifically the FBI's hate crime and domestic terrorism units.
And it's a foggy start for some of us in the Ozarks. Visibility is down to a half a mile Lake of the Ozarks, a quarter mile in Clinton, and 5 in Rolla. The latest on a dense fog advisory, plus your Labor Day forecast. That's up right after the break.
And now, Forecast First on Color 10 News, Ozarks First.
Good morning and thanks for joining us on this Labor Day. We're starting out with a dense fog advisory that goes until 10 o'clock for our central Missouri counties. It includes cities like Lake of the Ozarks, Lebanon, Camdenton, and Rolla. This is where that visibility could drop down to a quarter mile or less. So as you get on the roads, make sure to take it slow, use headlights, leave extra space between you and the car in front of you. Remember, if it's hard for you to see, it's hard for everybody else behind you to see too. Dry roads and clear conditions in Branson this morning. It is 66 degrees there. there right now. Again, that visibility dropping up to the north, 5 miles visibility in Rolla, 4 in Camdenton, a quarter mile in Clinton, and a half a mile up at Lake of the Ozarks. This area in particular is seeing more of that fog develop because that air is cooler this morning. That cool air and the moisture on the ground, those are the ingredients that lets that moisture condense a little bit more and create that fog. You can see it's warmer in Springfield, closer to 70 degrees there, while it's in the lower 60s up to the north. It's 70 in Monette and 64 in Mountain Grove. Quiet weather across the Ozarks because we have high pressure in control. That summertime high pressure keeping us warm and quiet, and it will for much of the week because we've got a hurricane getting close to Florida, and it will skirt up the East Coast through the work week, and that's what's going to keep the pattern pretty stalled. We're not really going to be able to move high pressures in and out because that hurricane will be in the way. So until that really exits, things will stay pretty quiet in the Ozarks. You can see that on the satellite and radar. Quiet across the midsection of the country. And here's that incredibly strong Category 5 hurricane, Dorian, with 165-mile-per-hour winds. The gut-wrenching part about this morning is it's moving at 1 mile per hour. You walk faster than this hurricane. It's been battering the Bahama Islands with the same catastrophic Category 5 winds since yesterday morning. They've been dealing with this for over 24 hours, so just really, again, just gut-wrenching this morning to see that image. The storm still very strong, still with a very large, powerful eye over the Bahama Islands. Hurricane-force winds stretching at 45 miles per hour from the center, and the tropical storm-force winds at 140 miles from the center. And this is why I think you've seen a lot on social media about will it make landfall in Florida or not. If it makes landfall, those wind and surge impacts will be greater. But even if it doesn't, look at how wide the wind field is. They'll still get hurricane force and tropical storm force winds in Florida, even if the eye stays offshore. It also will kick up surge up to 4 to 6 feet on the east coast of Florida. Then as you get into the curvature of the land over Georgia and then into South Carolina, that's where you can get some bigger surge of 8 to 10 feet. So hurricane and tropical storm warnings are in effect for much of the Florida peninsula. We're expecting that northward turn into tomorrow. And that's going to be crucial because if it turns a little bit late, that's when you get that eye closer to shore and maybe some more devastating impacts. If it turns a little bit early, the worst of it stays offshore, but you still get some of those outskirting impacts. And then it goes up the East Coast as we head through the week this week. When it made landfall in the Bahamas, it was the strongest storm to hit the Bahamas and one of the strongest for the Atlantic. 185-mile-per-hour winds yesterday was that peak for Dorian. That ties for second, and then we had that very strong low pressure as well, ties for one of the strongest storms. Today we're looking at sunshine locally, temperatures in the middle and upper 80s, quiet sunshine across the Ozarks today, 88 for a high, 68 degrees for a low tonight, and then temperatures up near 90 tomorrow. So for Labor Day, mostly sunny and summery, 88 degrees today. It should be nice on the pools, the lakes, and the barbecues. 68 overnight and quiet, 90 tomorrow, warm and sticky. Quiet through much of the 7-day with mostly sunny skies, temperatures up near 90.
All right, up next, time to check in with Hannah Zettel to see where she is this morning. It's a place where you can see plenty of nice vehicles right here in Springfield on this Labor Day. Stay with us. Welcome back to Daybreak, everyone. 5:46 this morning. Hannah Zettel working on this Labor Day, telling us a little bit about some cars you can admire while also helping a good cause. Hannah, what do you have for us? Good morning.
Joe, good morning. Happy Labor Day, and happy Labor Day to everyone at home. These gentlemen are already here setting up for the annual Labor Day Car Show, which is an annual event, like I said. It's really exciting. You can see a bunch of classic cars and even just cool cars, and it's all for a good cause. Now, starting this morning at 9 a.m. here at Fast Night Park, you can come down and enter your car. It's a $20 entry fee. So from about 9 to noon, the entries will be happening, and then from 2 o'clock on, it's award time. And so what does that $20 entry fee do? Well, not only does it get you your spot here and the chance to win the coveted prize, but also that money is going to go to muscular dystrophy. So it does support a really good cause here on your Labor Day morning. And you can see the gentlemen behind me are here on their Labor Day setting up right before 6 a.m. So you can see everyone who is involved is really dedicated. And it is a Springfield Labor Day Council that works really hard all year to put this event together. Stay with us because later on in the show, we're going to give you a sneak peek at some of the classic cars here. You can see some more people are already pulling up. So now we'll throw it back to you in the studio.
All right, looking forward to that. Thank you, Hannah. Still ahead, we've got your entertainment news, including how Downton Abbey fans can get their fix with a new film based off of the show. Stick with us.
And now, Forecast First on Color 10 News, Ozarks First.
Good morning and thanks for joining us on this Labor Day. A dense fog advisory is in effect until 10 o'clock for our central Missouri counties. It includes cities like Lake of the Ozarks, Lebanon, and Rolla. Visibility here could get down to a quarter mile or less at times. Clear skies in Springfield at 69 degrees this morning. We've got that visibility again dropping up to the north and east, a half a mile in Rolla, less than a quarter mile in Clinton, and 4 miles in Camdenton. That air mass is cooler up there, which is what allows that fog to develop. That cooler air can condense more easily, especially when there's some moisture left on the ground. It is a warmer 69 in Springfield, 66 in Branson, and 70 degrees in Monette. The Springfield Cardinals play their last game of the season, so you say goodbye to minor league baseball at 12:15 today. 82 degrees for that first pitch, and we stay warm through the game, 88 degrees there. For your Labor Day, again, it's going to be nice and summery, 88 for that high, mostly sunny skies, warm and a little bit sticky. We keep things warm as you fire up the barbecue, mostly clear by this evening with temperatures in the 70s there. Futurecast, very quiet today, mostly sunny, temperatures in the middle and upper 80s. Clear tonight, temperatures in the upper 60s, and then tomorrow mostly sunny and temperatures up near 90 degrees. So if you need to do some yard work today and tomorrow, will both be very dry. Same thing through the rest of the week. I don't really see any big signals for rain chances at all. We'll keep things dry through Thursday if you need to do any yard work and mow the lawn. Dorian is still an incredibly powerful Category 5 hurricane. It's got winds at 165 miles per hour, and it's only moving at 1 mile per hour, so on a standstill over the Bahamas, and has been for the last 24 hours for them. There are some devastating conditions there already. It makes that turn to the north. If it makes that turn early or late, will really determine how big the impacts will be for Florida, but at the very least, they're still looking at some hurricane force and tropical storm force conditions through early this week. Joe?
We've got a new look at the young Pope and new music from Kanye West. Danya Backus has your eye on entertainment.
Jude Law is back as Pope Pius VIII, but he's strutting down the beach in a Speedo in the trailer for the new Pope. The 8-episode drama is a continuation of the 2016 series The Young Pope. It ended with Law's character in a coma, making way for John Malkovich to join the cast as the new Pope John Paul III. No word yet on when the series will air on HBO.
Well, who do you think I am? Some maiden aunt who's never left the village? Obviously not.
Downton Abbey fans will be happy to see Countess Violet Crawley hasn't lost any of her sassiness in the newest sneak peek of the upcoming film based on the popular TV series. Set in 1927, the story continues the saga of the Crawley family and its interactions with the servants as they prepare for a visit from King George V and Queen Mary. Downton Abbey, the movie, arrives in U.S. theaters September 20th. Kanye West regularly performs Sunday services, but usually only for the Kardashians, Jenners, and close friends. Now he's sharing some of his Sunday ceremony music with everyone in a new album. Kanye's wife, Kim Kardashian, let it slip on Instagram that his new album, called Jesus is King, has a September 27th release date. That's your Eye on Entertainment. Danya Backus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
All right, we head to Iowa for an interesting boat race coming up when we return. Check out this boat race in Manchester, Iowa. Looks fancy, right?
Yeah, they look great.
Yeah, these boats are made of cardboard, people.
How is it not getting like wet and sinking and becoming mush.
You cardboard it, you tape it, you latex paint it for waterproofing right there. So there you go. You compete for a trophy. The loser, though, if you didn't make it, there was a Titanic award for the most epic sinking of a boat, as you see right here happening.
That would be me. I would win that award.
I think that's amazing. That's pretty fun. We need to get out on a lake and try this out. Another hour of Daybreak is heading your way in a few minutes, everyone. Stay with us.